This is me Aparna and welcome back to the channel and welcome to the first episode of our new series. So today I'm going to talk to you about one of the scariest experiences that we had, and it was in the mountains. Specifically, if you ask me, it was on our Leh Ladakh trip and it was kind of like a near death experience. So me or none of our friends had imagined that something like this could have happened, but it happened. And the scariest thing is that this can happen to anyone traveling to the mountains. But you don't have to worry because there are certain things that you need to take care and you will be saved. So in this video, I'm going to talk to you about all those things. So this video is divided into 3 parts. In the first part, I'll tell you the story, what happened. In the second part, I will tell you why it happened and how it happened. And third part, I'll tell you how you can avoid these mistakes. So this video will be a very helpful video for you or anyone traveling to the mountains or any of your friends who are traveling to the mountains. So stay tuned till the end. It was in 2016 that we decided to visit Leh Ladakh, one of the most beautiful places in India. So Leh Ladakh was our first north trip and our first long trip. So obviously we did the research, but our research was limited only to the places to visit and we did not want to miss on any place. Since it was our first trip, we did it via a travel agency. Even they didn't inform us about what are the other things that we need to take care of while traveling to the mountains. So we landed in Delhi and the Innova was waiting for us to take us to Manali. So our plan was to reach Manali, stay there for one day, get accustomed to the climate, the mountain region and everything, and then head out to Leh on the next day. But on our itinerary, there was also plans to visit places in and around Manali. But as soon as we reached Manali, they did not do anything as per the itinerary. So they didn't take us to any places in Manali and we lost complete trust on them because on the very first day itself they did this. So we lost trust on them and we did not want the same thing to happen going forward. If you have been to Leh from Manali, you know it takes 2 days to reach there. So you have to take a halt in between. From Manali you have to start, take a halt in between, and then the next day you have to start to Leh. So as per the itinerary, we had to take a halt at Jispa. So if you know, Jispa is very close to Manali. Jispa is like 4 hours to Manali, and from Jispa the next day we have to travel a lot more to reach Leh. So we thought, why to waste our time in Jispa, because Jispa doesn't offer much things to places to hang out. It's just a place to stay. So we thought, okay, don't waste time in Jispa. Let's head to the place called Sarchu, which is in between Manali and Leh, so that we get more time to spend in Leh on the second day. All that happened because we lost trust in these days. So we decided to stay at Sarchu and we told the driver that take us to Sarchu, we don't want to stay at Jispa. And all the trouble started from there. That was the first mistake that we did. So if you have seen the itineraries of Manali to Leh trip, everybody stays at Jispa because Jispa is a safer place to stay because there is enough vegetation and it is very close to Manali. So Jispa is always the best place to stay when you are heading to Leh. But since we argued and we wanted to deliberately change it to Sarchu, they changed it. They didn't even say anything. They said, okay, we'll go and stay at Sarchu, and we were happy. So we started off the journey from Manali. So if you have been on that way, you know that there are not many hotels or restaurants or toilet facilities available. So all you can find are some Maggie huts where you can get Maggie omelette, bread omelette, that's the maximum. And there are not toilets at all. I don't know how it is now, but back in 2016 there were not toilets. And since we were not travelers at that time, we were not comfortable at peeing in the public or peeing at unhygienic conditions. So the solution we found out was to limit the food and water, and that was the second mistake that we did. Second biggest mistake I should say, because we reduced on the amount of water for the fear of peeing in unhygienic conditions or open. And finally we reached Sarchu at around 7 p.m. in the evening. And as soon as we reached and as soon as the car stopped, I started feeling very uneasy. Like I was not able to breathe. I found it extremely difficult to breathe, and it was like in the first time in my life that I was having such a feeling, that is a difficulty to breathe and all. But initially I thought maybe because we didn't have enough food and water and we had a long journey, and that could be the reason, and I'm tired, and that may be the reason why I was not able to breathe. But I was not able to breathe and I was not able to properly walk by myself. So, but I thought, okay, I and my friends, all of us thought, oh, it will be fine in some time. And we went inside the camp and we had our tea and everything. So, if you know about Sarchu, Sarchu is a place with no vegetation at all. Because it is like a cold desert. If you see, you won't even see any grass there. So that is the kind of nature of Sarshu, and heavy winds blow there. The winds there are very strong. Like for a normal person like us who has not been to altitude such heights, the air pressure and the wind and the availability of oxygen and everything is a problem. And Sarshu is such a dangerous place to see. But we did not know about it. And I told you, right, the agency also didn't tell us anything about it. And as the time passed by, my feeling of suffocation started increasing. I was finding it more and more difficult to breathe and more difficult to control myself. That I was not able to sit, I was not able to stand, I was not able to lie down. Everything was a problem for me. I was not even able to do the basic things. Like, because when you don't get oxygen, you panic, or you get, like, oxygen is the basic thing that is, you can't live without it, right? You cannot stay, you cannot survive any longer without oxygen. And I was having a struggle. So I was breathing so hard so that I get some oxygen for survival, but nothing seemed to work. And at the same time, parallelly, when these things were happening with me, one of my friends started developing headache. She also had it in the same way that I had. Initially it was a mild headache, and as time passed by, it started increasing very badly. So she was also lying on the bed next to me, and she was little unconscious. I won't say she was completely unconscious, but she was not in complete consciousness also. So we both were having these things together, and my situation started worsening, because hers, we thought, okay, it might be a headache. Normally when we travel we get headache, so it might be something like that. That's what we didn't consider it as a serious issue. But mine, since I was having a difficulty to breathe, everybody understood that this one is serious. And in the camp, the caretaker actually, he saw my situation, and there was oxygen cylinder in there. So he took us there and he gave me some oxygen. So when the mask was on me, and when the oxygen was being pumped, I was feeling a little okay. So I thought, okay, after I get this oxygen, I'll be fine. And everybody thought so, that I'll be fine after taking this oxygen. So he gave me oxygen for like kind of like 10 minutes. And that time I felt a little fine, and then they took me back to the tent. And after spending like 5 minutes there, my situations again got worsened. I was struggling even harder to breathe. So everybody understood, okay, this situation is getting out of hands. And Sarshu, I told you, it is in between Manali and Leh, and the nearest hospital, to reach the nearest hospital, you need to either go to Manali or you need to go to Leh, which is going to take you 8 hours at least. And you cannot travel during Rohtang Pass or that road at night, because it is very dangerous. You have the mountain on one side and cliff on the other side. So one wrong move and you're done. So you cannot even think of that case, and there are no medical facilities available. So we all panic. Now we don't know what to do. Our condition, both of our conditions are getting worse. She is not responding. So when you call her, Ashley, what happened? She is not even responding. Like, we thought, okay, maybe she is sleeping, but she was not sleeping. She was not getting that correct coordination. But we were not understanding all of things. So that time the caretaker told me, I think we need to take them to the nearest hospital. But since hospitals are far away, there is an army camp nearby. You can try if there is somebody there. So that will be better, because it is not, I don't think the situation is going to improve. So take us to the army camp. Somebody will be there to help you. They might have some first aid or something. So just take them there. So that was the only option left for us, because we don't know what is going to happen. So we tried to test our luck. But I told you, so while in the mountains, the rule is that before the sun sets in, you have to be back in your stay. But the situation has gone out of hand. We cannot stay there, but we have to take the risk of going there. So finally we told the driver, and we decided to take us there. So it was like the army camp was like 10 kilometers from our tent. So it was so on the way also, me and her, we were getting very panicked, because when you don't get oxygen, you get scared a lot. I was also scared a lot, and I don't know what to do. So finally we reached the army hospital, and I was not able to walk by myself. So my friends carried me till there, and both of us, friends carried both of us to the bed. And there was army doctor. He was a Malayali. So we explained to him what had happened to us. So my friend, she was having headache, and I was having the difficulty to breathe. So the headache which she mentioned was like she had never faced such a big headache, such a I mean, such a strong headache any time in her life. That was her explanation of the headache, and my explanation was that I have not faced any breathlessness or anything, any kind of this feeling any time in my life. So we both were basically having the same thing, but in a different way. But we were not understanding that. Okay, so we explained it to the doctor, to the army person. So he went there, he took a medicine, and he just injected it on us. So, and he asked us to wait for half an hour. So while we were on the bed waiting for what was going to happen, like we don't know whether it will reduce or not, but since we found this person, we were a little bit okay at that time. And that time, so when we were on the bed waiting, he started telling stories of people who had been to that place like 2-3 days before or 1 week before, and had actually died because of similar situations. Like we were waiting on the bed and he's telling this story. So we got panicked hearing that. So it was the story of a doctor who came on a bike ride, and he died on spot because his oxygen supply to brain got cut due to the altitude, and he was a doctor. Even then he died. And then there was then he told a story about an army person who died because the army vehicle, he went into the gutter and its head hit on a metal rod in the vehicle, and he died on spot. So these are the kind of stories he is telling us while we are waiting on the bed, panicked about what is happening with us. So anyways, so I got scared in between, and I told him, why are you saying all these stories now? We are already scared now. Please don't tell these stories. And then he stopped. So after half an hour, we finally became fine. I was able to breathe properly, and her headache was also gone. So that is when we understood, or that is when the doctor told us, or the army person told us what had actually happened to us. And as some of you had guessed, yes, we were stuck with AMS, acute mountain sickness. So acute mountain sickness is kind of like a medical condition, and that happens when you travel to higher altitudes. Basically, altitudes greater than 8,000 feet. So we, being from the coastal area of Kerala, lying on a very low altitude, going to a higher altitude was a real challenge for us. Our body was not able to cooperate or coordinate with the air pressure, or the lack of oxygen, the limited oxygen availability, or the climate conditions. But we did not knew about such a condition before. So we didn't take any precautions while for going to such a place. We didn't even know that something like acute mountain sickness existed, and that can be fatal also. People die due to this. We had no information on this, and that's why we got stuck with AMS. So anytime you are traveling to the mountains, check on the altitudes, and if it is greater than 8,000 feet, then there is always a chance of acute mountain sickness, and it can happen to you in many ways. As I told you, for me it was like breathlessness and inability to walk and do the basic things, and for her it was a headache. So it might be different for different people. Sometimes you might have diarrhea, you might have vomiting. So if anything like that happens, and it does not reduce and it increases by with time, then you have to really understand that you are getting AMS. So why did it happen to us? It happened to us because we did a lot of mistakes in our trip. Number one was staying at Sarchu. So Sarchu is at 14,000 feet, and the place does not have any vegetation at all, and the winds there are very strong, and the oxygen supply is very limited. So it is an utter foolishness to stay at such a place called Sarchu, and that too for people who are not at all accustomed to those situations. So that was the number one mistake we did. We did not knew anything about Sarchu, and Sarchu is not at all a place to stay. And second mistake that we did not drink enough water, and we did not have proper food. So that was the second biggest mistake. So water helps a lot. So if you drink enough water, water also helps in giving us the required oxygen, but we did not drink water because of the fear of peeing. That was the second mistake. And there are many other food items that you can eat, like chocolates, that I'll explain to you in the next section. But there are certain types of foods that you can eat that will help you acclimatize faster, and that is the second mistake. And third mistake was that we did not take enough days to acclimatize. So actually we had only stayed one day at Manali in the name of acclimatization, but that wasn't enough at all, because Manali is at a very less altitude as compared to Leh or Sarchur, any place. So staying in Manali is not at all an option, and what we should have actually done is that we should have stayed one day in Jispa or 2 days in Jispa, so that we get acclimatized properly, because we need to, so that our body should get used to the conditions, climatic conditions, air pressure, oxygen supply and all that things, and then it becomes easier. But I understand, like if you are going on a limited time slot, it will be difficult to put extra days for acclimatization, but in that case it is better not to go, because it can be fatal also. We don't know what is going to happen, we don't know how our body is going to react. So it is better to take that extra time, at least when you're going for the first time. It's always better to take that extra time, see how your body reacts and do things accordingly, otherwise you will struggle like how we did. And the fourth mistake we did was we did not research at all about the place. We did not, I told you, right, we did research only on the places to visit, but we did not research on things like altitude or the effect of altitude on our body, or the air pressure or the oxygen availability. We did not research anything. So before going to the place, that is a must thing to do. That was the fourth mistake that we did. So luckily I would say, luckily we got saved, because there was a army hospital. If we had not gone to that hospital, or if we had not got that information, or if that army person was not present there, I really don't know what would have happened to us, because our conditions were getting deteriorated, and only when we got that injection for the issue or the mountain sickness, that's when we were fine. So such a situation can happen to anyone. I'm not saying it will happen to anybody who's going to 8,000 feet, because my friends, other friends, we were 6 people, but only 2 of us got hit very badly. Others had mild headache and all, but it was not serious. So it can happen to anyone, and it may not happen to you, but so you have to, but the best thing is that you have to take all the precautions while going to the mountain, so that you can have a safe trip. So what you can do to avoid such things from happening to you? So number one, research about the place. Read about the altitude, the climate conditions, what is the maximum height that you are going to travel. If you're going by a travel agency, check if your travel agency is providing you enough time to acclimatize, and are they also having emergency kit like oxygen cylinder. All those things you need to check. You need to first and foremost research on climate conditions, air, oxygen availability, or you can, like, there maybe you can, if you are going to the mountains, and you have to first check on the altitude and then check all these things. This is number one thing to check, and based on that you have to take necessary precautions. Sometimes you might have to, there are certain medicines also that will help you acclimatize faster, but I cannot tell you right now, because I'm not a doctor. I cannot tell you that, but you can consult your physician, your doctor, and ask him about the medicines that can actually help, and then start consuming it. I cannot tell you the medicine name or anything. So so if you have any medical condition, like you have any breathing problem or heart issues or lungs issues, then you should definitely consult a doctor before heading out to these places. And if you might think, okay, I am very fit, I am very active, I exercise a lot, but that is not enough. You cannot predict how your body will react at a higher altitude. And once you went to a place you did not have an AMS, doesn't mean that you will not have it the second. So every time you should take all the necessary precautions. And hash number one is researching about the place. And number two is you have to drink plenty of water. As I told you earlier, water helps a lot. Even if you cannot pee, you have to drink water, and maybe you can pee in the open, but you should drink water. And you should eat enough food. You should not skip food also. That is very important. That comes number two. You should not skip food and water. And then there are certain other food items like dark chocolates. Dark chocolates helps a lot in helping with the oxygen availability. I mean, it helps your body to cooperate with the conditions. And then popcorn also helps, and you can also smell camphor. These are the things. This camphor you can smell. If you're facing any breathlessness or something, you can smell camphor. So always carry these things. Carry some dark chocolates with you, popcorns with you, camphor with you, and lots of water. and have enough food or carry some snacks that you can have. Don't don't eat wholesome meal or something, but just eat enough food. That is number two. And number three is that take enough days of rest and take enough days to get acclimatized. So that will help a lot, because your body, it is not, your body cannot, for some people, for like some people, their body cannot adapt to different conditions. So it's always better to take 1 or 2 days to check how your body reacts and then proceed. So that is number three. And number four, that's very important. And if your condition is getting serious, you are saying that your symptoms does not go away in 1 or 2 hours, or your condition is getting worse, and if you do not have any medical help, then you should definitely start descending. That is the only way, because it can lead to conditions where there will be fluid accumulation in lungs and brain, and that this is the serious level of acute sickness, and you can even die. So if your situation is worsening and you're sure that you cannot get any medical help, then always descend, come back to a safer place. So if you, as you come down, right, you will start to experience that you're getting better. So always, if the situation is getting better, getting worse, plan to come down. So if you take care of these things, AMS can be prevented or controlled to a great extent, and you can have a great time in the mountains. So hard and fast rule is that if your situation is getting worse, plan to descend. That's it. That's the only thing that you need to take care. And there may be other things also that one needs to take care while heading to the mountain. So if you are aware of any of such things, you can comment it here. So that will be helpful to the people who are watching it, and that will be helpful to me as well, because I may not be knowing such things. So if you prepare enough, it will be a good experience. Acute mountain sickness will not affect you that badly. So yeah, that's it about my experience and the takeaways for you. I hope you liked it. So we'll catch you up with another informative session. Till then, bye.